CYPRES How-To: Switching on and off. CYPRES is switched on by pressing the push button switch a total of 4 times with very short clicks. The button on the control unit should be pressed with the fingertip. Do not use a fingernail or any other object. The button is the only means the user has for controlling the AAD's functions. Start to switch on cycle by clicking the button once. After approximately 1 second, the red LED light will glow. You must acknowledge the red light immediately by clicking the button again. This sequence, a click following appearance of the red light, will be repeated 2 more times. After a total of 4 clicks, CYPRES goes into self-test mode. If you do not act promptly after seeing the LED light, or if you push the button too soon, CYPRES will ignore the switch on attempt. This 4-click initiation cycle has been designed to avoid accidental switch on. Once the switch on procedure is finished, the unit will run through its self-test and calibration. The unit makes multiple air pressure measurements and takes the average of these calculations to establish the value of ground level. Even though you may need to reset your altimeter before a jump, CYPRES takes care of itself. This calibration is the basis for the AAD to recognize the activation altitude and speed relative to the ground level. The processing unit contains a factory-programmed microprocessor capable of real-time calculations of a jumper's altitude and rate of descent based on barometric pressure. Initially, the display will show the number 10, and then a countdown ending in 0 arrow down. When the 0 arrow down is shown, the unit should be functional for the next 14 hours. After 14 hours have passed, the unit will switch itself off automatically. If the self-test is not successful, an error code is shown for approximately 2 seconds. The meaning of this error code can be found in the user manual. After an error code appears, the unit switches off and cannot be switched on again. Please discontinue the use of that rig and send the AAD in for service. Similarly, if the unit switches itself off and cannot be switched on again, if the unit does not switch off after 14 hours, if there is no red light when the button is pressed, or if anything else unusual occurs, do not jump that unit. A manual switch off is always possible using the same button sequence as the switch on procedure. The routine is designed to avoid accidental switch off. There is no need to panic when you see the next recommended date for maintenance flash on screen. We highly recommend getting your unit serviced for peace of mind. In the event you do want to send the unit back, make sure to ask AirTech or SSK about a possible loaner unit so you do not have to jump without an AAD. It is best, of course, to schedule your maintenance during a time you do not intend to jump. But if you are a professional who jumps frequently, we recommend not going without. When to reset? As a rule, AADs should be switched on at the takeoff site on the ground. Just prior to donning your rig is an ideal time. It should never be switched on inside an aircraft. In the event you remember that you forgot to turn on your AAD in the aircraft, do not have your friend turn it on for you. Either make the jump with the unit turned off or land with the aircraft. That will be your call. But we do want to ask the questions, if you forgot one of the most essential safety items in your checklist, what else did you miss? The more conservative approach is to land with the aircraft. To reset your CYPRES, switch off and then on again. The unit will then recalibrate and zero itself to your current elevation. When the takeoff airfield and intended drop zone are in the same location and all jumping activity is restricted to that place, an initial switch on at the drop zone will suffice for any number of jumps, provided they all take place within 14 hours. Should any of the following situations occur, CYPRES must be reset before the next jump. The drop zone is missed and the landing takes place in an area with an elevation greater than 30 feet above or below the drop zone level, or on the return journey to the drop zone, the ground elevation changes similarly. The unit is taken away from the airfield/drop zone by vehicle or on foot and later brought back again. If the total time of a flight exceeds 1.5 hours, CYPRES will function normally, but must be reset after landing as the weather could have changed the ambient air pressure significantly in the meantime. As a general recommendation, when in doubt, reset your AAD. When the takeoff airfield and intended drop zone are in different locations, CYPRES must be switched on at the departure airfield. Prior to each jump, on return to the airfield from the drop zone, it must be reset again before takeoff. When the takeoff airfield and intended drop zone are at different elevations, CYPRES must be switched on at the departure airfield and adjusted to the elevation of the drop zone. This is extremely important when making demonstration jumps. Prior to each jump, on return to the airfield from the drop zone, it must be reset before jumping again.